So we're going to start with the basics. So literally, what brush are you going to use and why? And this is also going to help you guys when it comes to color outside of balayage, because I think brushes are so important. As I say, you're not going to cut a steak with a butter knife. So why would we try to balayage with a root touch-up color brush? I'm going to break down what each brush's job is and why we use it. Something so simple, but when we think about it, and we go to do our color, if you're using the correct brush, it's going to help you with your blends, control, and everything that you need when you are applying your color, okay? So first up, here's the brushes that we have, and there's an arsenal of more brushes out there. They're never ending. When I very first started hair, it was like literally the traditional version of this guy right here, and it was a hard plastic brush. It didn't have like these edges that were soft. It wasn't bendable. It was awful. And that is what I learned to balayage. It was literally a fucking nightmare. Mind my language, but it really, really was. So let's talk about these brushes and why they're so special. So when brushes started to evolve and balayage became much bigger and lived in color was a thing, we started to see the traditional brush. I think Fremar was the first one that came out with it, and it was a soft bristle brush, much easier to paint with, not so stiff. It really started to open the doors to making our job easier with our tools, okay? Then we started to see the power painters, or you might see them referred to as the chip brushes. You can go to the paint store, you'll see like wooden version of these with some stylists that they use. I prefer to use the professional version because when I've gotten the wooden version at, say, like Home Depot or any of those sort of stores, the wood it's not protected. So it's going to eventually rot. And I feel like you maybe get one or two uses out of them. So when we are looking at our selection of brushes that we have here, we have our really tiny one. Now, if you're looking at the balayage PDF that comes with this course, you're going to see the full breakdown. So we're going to have brushes that are made for fine hair, medium hair, and coarse to thick. So if my client has fine hair, not a lot of it, we don't want to be using a brush like the power brush. Look at the difference of those. See how thick this is versus how thin and little this one is. This one's going to hold way more color and lightener than this little one. And what is that going to help us? When we have a client that has really fine hair, it can't hold all the lightener that we're going to be applying to it if we used a power painter. So using a lighter, finer, smaller brush is going to be really beneficial. This brush is also great for detail work. So if you're going around the front hairline, I'll be going over this and using this one. It's going to get into those small little details for you. And it's not going to be like if you came in with the traditional one trying to paint the hairline. With how much more this extends up, you may touch on other sections that this guy's going to give you more control around the front hairline. So these smaller brushes are going to be great for fine hair and detail work. You may also see these where they're a slant, like they're a cut. Those are also great for detail work and fine hair. Next up, we're going to move to our traditional brushes. So like I said, these are the ones that started to evolve once balayage was coming around and we no longer had those awful stiff brushes. We got these guys. So these two, this one's Quality Touch, this one's From. You're going to see them from all the different brands. What you're going to notice is they look like your traditional color brushes. However, the bristles are much, much softer. And at the top, they're not a full blunt edge. What is that going to help for? It's going to help with blending. Then also look at the density of these brushes. These are going to be great for medium to thick hair. I like to really use these on my root work when I'm working on medium to thick hair. It's going to hold that perfect amount of product and it's not going to be too much and overwhelming on the hair. But you're also not going to be having to go back and forth. If I tried to use this guy on someone that had medium to thick hair, I'm going to be coming back in and dipping a lot more because this one will hold more product than this one. Okay. Next up is we have the extra large brushes. Now look at this guy, how much longer it is. Okay. We do not paint with these. I mean, you could try, but it might be a hot mess. So with these guys, you're going to see two versions. This one is a much softer bristle, very flexible. The second option is going to be a blunt edge that's a very hard bristle, like your traditional plastic ones. What are these guys for? These are for express root applications. So the stiff bristle with the blunt edge, I like to use those when I need a lot of control with my product. If I'm doing a bleach touch up, or if I'm doing a root touch up with gray color and I don't want to overlap and have any overlaps with that color, that's when I'm going to have that stiffer blunt edge because I have full control of it with the root application. The softer one is when I'm wanting to blend. So say you're wanting to do a shadow root, a root melt, any of those where you're wanting to have a softer melt to your root, this is going to be your option because it's going to apply faster because it's the extra large, but the bristles are going to blend and do all the work for you. Next up, we have the Power Painter. A lot of people use this, and I think it's a really great option, but know your audience, aka your client's hair, before you are using it. It can hold a ton of lightener on it. So what does that mean? If I put this on a client with fine hair, you bet your bottom dollar she's going to get cheetah prints, spots. And we're going to talk about cheetah prints a lot, or a holiday. Some of you guys hear it as that. Let me age myself a little bit there. So that's going to be when you see polka dots or spots on the hair from your balayage. And that's what turns off a lot of people to not liking balayage, because you're like, it's so splotchy. It starts with picking out the proper color brush. So this one I'm going to use on medium hair, but on the mids and ends. I will not use this on a medium texture density at the root area. Coarse, thick hair, I can use this from root to end because that you can hold it taut. It's not going to go through. It can really hold a structure to be able. This one is really, really great for tipping out. So if you're doing foil work, you're over directing and you're doing the foils, it holds a lot. It's going to blend a lot. Great for your mids and ends with blending them. Okay, you guys? So these are the color brushes. So next time you guys go to the back and you're mixing up your lightener, getting ready for your balayage or any of your color, pick the brush for the color service you need.